Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dynasty Wonderland podcast with me, the Mad Chatter, Ryan MK, and my good buddy, the salary captain, the March Heron, Aaron Stewart. What's up, man? How's it going?
Well, it's going well. It is for me. It's my Friday because it's actually Friday. I think you have one more day to go, right? It's not
Yes,
quite your
yes,
like tomorrow's your Friday. So
yes. Saturdays are
end of the
technically
week.
my Fridays.
Gotcha.
So I'm excited
It's
for
end of the
tomorrow.
week. We made it.
Yes. And we're actually recording a day late because, well, I'm going to be just straight up honest. You know me. I like to do the full honesty, full transparency. And my ass passed out during the game last night. Not surprising, given it was quite the blowout. Score a little bit misleading because it was a straight up ass whooping. And I fell asleep at some point during the second half and woke up after midnight Mountain Time and realized that, it was much too late at that point to record. So we had to reschedule for tonight. Apologies again, my good friend Aaron. I know you don't give a shit really, but so I'm glad
I go
we're
with
back.
the flow.
Yes,
I go with
exactly.
the flow. I was sitting there. I was like, oh, I haven't heard from Ryan. Just whatever. I have things that I was working on the side, and I can't. I don't think it. Yeah, I was like, just went. Yeah, I don't think we're doing a show tonight, and I'm just gonna go to bed.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All
Yeah.
good, man.
So, speaking of the game, the Colts, as we talked about on the last pod, thought it might be a little more interesting given the Derrick Henry news with the Titans, and they looked pretty good. Jonathan Taylor, in particular,
Oh,
172 yards, two touchdowns, along with two catches for 28 yards. Hell of a game for him. Just killed it. Killed it. Naheem Hines had a good game. Michael Pittman as well. So good display from the Colts offense. And the Jets, well, Mike White got it going a little bit and then got hurt. And then Josh Johnson comes in, didn't play terribly, but and hey, you actually got some action from your guy Elijah Moore. Hey, there we go, 7 catches, 84 yards,
and,
two touchdowns. So
I've been
very good game
waiting.
for him. Yeah, it's
I've
a
been
nice
waiting
game
all
from
season
him.
for that.
Very good to see. And it came with Josh Johnson, a quarterback, who's actually a comedian. And you should check out his album, hashtag. I was listening to it earlier. It is fucking great. Particularly the bit about a bee flying in his hair. Yes, this is fantastic material. So I highly suggest check it out. Anyway,
Let's
Josh
see. One of
Johnson,
the
the
things I have to do
quarterback.
real quick.
Huh?
Yeah. I want. Well, sorry. I'll let you finish that thought because I'm going to
No,
be
go ahead.
counting something because
Oh, okay.
I'll have something after you finish. So it's
What the hell was I saying? Now I'm doing what you were doing.
Josh
Josh
Johnson.
Johnson, the quarterback, not the comedian. 317, three touchdowns, one interception, couple of sacks. He's again, didn't play bad. They got a little feisty as the game went on, but when it comes to it, right down to it, overall Colts dominate. And I just kind of ran through some of the stats and stuff like that. Give me your thoughts on the game overall, Mr. Aaron.
Well, one of the things I did have to count here because it's ridiculous, and I highly encourage people to pull up Josh Johnson on Wikipedia because it's the career history, which usually shows he's on this team from this year to this year. He has played for 13 different NFL teams. Been I guess in and out of the league technically, but came into the league in 2008. And you know what? Like for a guy to have the longevity, somehow he makes his way back. Like he'll go in 2019, plays for the San Diego Fleet. I don't even know what league that is. Comes back into the NFL,
AHL?
leaves for maybe it sounds like an arena football team, and comes back to the NFL. The next year, though, he goes to the Los Angeles Wildcats. So it's just I won't spend much won't spend much more time on that. It's humorous because we always hear his name. It's like each year he does seem to like show up on a team.
Yeah.
But for those wondering, 13 different NFL teams. That does not include secondary stints with 3 other teams, the Jets included. He played for the Jets previously, 2015.
A true journeyman.
Insane.
A true journeyman.
And keep getting them checks. Can't really fault him on that one.
No,
I think
good for him.
Massive takeaway, and the massive takeaway, of course, is the Jonathan Taylor game. And the other notable thing with the running backs was Marlon Mack was a healthy scratch on this one. So because Jordan Wilkins got cut, I guess they rolled with just 2 running backs. And that is a positive sign going forward with Jonathan Taylor. Because when you have a guy like Mack who is capable of taking some carries, this is what you want if you have Taylor on your teams. That's a nice sign. I don't think I don't know the status on Deion Jackson, an undrafted rookie running back that I liked his profile. I don't know if he got called up to the active roster or not. Then, of course, the Elijah Moore game. Oh, waiting all season. So we'll dive a little deeper. There really isn't anything from the Colts side that stands out to me on the pass catchers. There were only 3 guys that caught more than 2 passes in this game, had more than 2 targets in this game. I will say Ashton Doolin is certainly interesting, but that's not in redraft leagues. That's strictly Dynasty. He has been getting more opportunities lately, but just a couple of targets in this one. Looking at the Jets side, oh man, there's the rough thing, the negative thing from a fantasy viewpoint is who's the number 1 guy on this team. It's tough to tell. Really can't tell because 2 guys had 8 targets, 2 guys had 7 targets. You had Denzel Mims had 5 targets. He's alive, I guess. But just a bunch of guys with 3-4 targets. So it gets messy on that one.
It took Josh Johnson for Elijah Moore to have a big game. So who's to say? It's hard to trust anybody on this offense because, think of how many people were like, Michael Carter after last week, and then this week, So I don't.
Although I'll say, really the major thing with Carter is no touchdown because it was like he had 86 yards from scrimmage, which is certainly not bad because Ty Johnson is going to get some work there. And Ty Johnson, man, what a passing game specialist. I guess you see him do a little bit on the ground, and then you go to his receiving lines lately, and he only had a couple of catches in this one, but he had 40 yards, scored a touchdown. He's been having some big games as a running back in the receiving stat line. And I will say with Michael Pittman, keep feeding that guy, Indianapolis. Come on, they have got just a bona fide stud with that. And let's see, the thing I'll end on is back to Ty Johnson. That is 3 straight games now that he's had 40 or more receiving yards. Really, really getting it done. The previous 2 games, he had been targeted a combined 13 times and caught 11 passes. He has a role. He will be a thorn in the side of Michael Carter fantasy managers because Johnson, it's like Nyheim Hines to Jonathan Taylor because you're going to go, man, throw some passes, Jonathan Taylor. Nyheim Hines is there. So, you hate to see it, but I don't know. I guess Ty Johnson seems to be a risky flex play in PPR due to his usage in the passing game.
Right. Agreed. But there you go. Not one of our better primetime games. But it will suffice. Hey, it's football. It's football.
We'll take it.
But we head into week 9 Sunday, and there's some news to get to before kind of discussion the on-field action. And we begin with, obviously some of this will pertain to on-field. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers heading into Kansas City. Wait, or is it in Green Bay?
I want to say they're playing in Kansas City.
Yeah, I was right. Okay. Yeah, heading into Kansas City. Jordan Love starting. And So this is definitely going to be an interesting game. Aaron Rodgers is on the COVID list. It, I'm not going to get a ton into it because I'm sure I'll rant on this on my next miscellaneous debris podcast, which you can find anywhere you find this one, my non-sports pod. Check it out. So I just know this dude can say I didn't lie all he wanted to, but this motherfucker lied. That's all there is to it. Dude, he could say, "Oh, I did." He can try and play semantics all he wants. He wasn't being truthful. He wasn't being clear about it, and it is what it is. I'm just like, if that's how you really feel, put some conviction on it. Like, I, I could argue all day with Cole Beasley. That dude's got hardly anything for proof or anything like that, but he at least, states his opinion, his belief. And this just is very wishy-washy by Aaron Rodgers. But you know what? That doesn't matter when it comes to football. I mean, I guess kind of in this situation, because there's probably a lot of people that figured he was vaccinated and wouldn't have to worry about some shit like this. Now, there's a chance, even if he was vaccinated, he might not have played this game anyway, but at least he'd be good to go back to practice next week. Whereas that's kind of a little more like I think he'd be back next week, the day before the game or the day before. Yeah. So what do you think about Aaron Rodgers going to be out? What do you think we'll get from Jordan Love? The Packers do get Devontae Adams back, it seems. This, what do you think? What do you think? You think we're going to get a little bit of surprise from Jordan Love? We're going to get a good game out of this dude?
Well, the interesting thing, and I start by going to a prop pick for Jordan Love. There's an over-under on Underdog Fantasy. The number may change by the time that this is gone, that this podcast is up for the listeners. But right now he has an over-under of 245.5 passing yards for the Chiefs game. And there's several different ways to think of that. I think if you take the over, you're thinking, oh, the Chiefs defense sucks, and the Packers are going to have to play from behind. It's a perfect thing for this one. However, in the past 3 weeks, there's been two opposing quarterbacks, Daniel Jones and Taylor Heineke, that aren't exactly known for being the best passers of the football. Daniel Jones, admittedly, has been much better this year, but he walked in, he didn't have any weapons at all. I mean, that was Sterling Shepard got hurt, Kadarius Toney got hurt. At that point, you have Evan Ingram and a bunch of nobodies, and is that not what Green Bay is to a degree? I mean, it's Devontae Adams, a whole bunch of nobodies. You lost Robert Tonyan with the torn ACL. I don't know who takes his place because they have Mercedes Lewis, but he's more of the traditional blocking tight end. He might can catch a pass or two a game, but he's not the same threat. And with Heineke, it was the same thing. It's there's Terry McLaurin and Ricky Seals-Jones, but nobody else. And both quarterbacks, I mentioned them because they both finished under 230 passing yards. People keep going, oh, it's a bad defense. I got to play these quarterbacks. But the quarterbacks have also got to be good too. Now, Jordan Love we know nothing about him. We didn't have a preseason last year, which would have been perfect for him during his rookie season. Didn't play at all because Aaron Rodgers. So the only thing we really have in a year plus with Jordan Love is we have some preseason games. I think he got a little bit of action in maybe a couple of games this season, but nothing really, usually short passes, if anything. So not much at all. But I am leaning the under on the prop because of one key thing. Aaron Rodgers on the season was averaging less than that amount of passing yards. The Packers are they're very much been a run heavy team, and they still are. The head coach that came from Tennessee with the Derek when he was working with Derrick Henry, has done the same thing with a combination of Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. And I see them doubling down on the run game. Like that's what you got to do. I know people are like, oh, you got to take advantage of this defense. No, I think what you really have to do is control the clock. I mean, it's not going to be a fun game to watch if they do this, but I know that's what they're going to do. I know it's what it's going to do. They're going to get an underdog pick here, people, and I can't take credit. It's really from Josh Larkey over at Player Profiler. But like when I started diving into the numbers, I was like, yeah, that's a difficult number to match. Like don't fall for the narrative of the Chiefs defense sucks. I mean, it does, but that's not the magic code of why you would take the over.
I dig it. It makes sense. You'll be happy if you're rostering Aaron Jones, I think, then.
Mm-hmm. And I think for Dynasty owners, like this is an exciting time because my goodness, have you had to be super patient? And now it's a time, it's not a permanent thing, but it could be a glimpse into next season. I think it's pretty safe to say.
Right.
A freaking miracle has to happen for Aaron Rodgers to be playing for the Packers next year, based on all the tricky salary cap stuff, plus the fact that Aaron Rodgers has just been done. Like, and just real quick, when we talk about like his positive test, is like it is worth thinking about of like maybe that could have played a part where he wasn't expecting the Packers to be 7-1 at this point of the season. Like this team really didn't have a whole lot of they seemingly didn't have a lot of talent. Well, especially on offense. So you wonder if that may have played a part where, you know, you just kind of go, I don't even want to be here anyways. So why even bother to get the vaccine? Unlike like Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, the one that gets everyone on board. So it is messy. And I could tell you, I listened to the full interview. Oh boy. You know the NFL's not happy. You know they're not happy. So it's nice little the NFL, the one of the greatest gifts. To be a quick point, they're always giving us drama, right? Like
that's very true.
We're not gonna have a story get old, that's for sure, because about the time that something's getting a little stale to talk about, in which we will get into it. Yeah, we will get into those other stories. You then have the Aaron Rodgers shenanigans, and wait a couple of days, something else. Actually, there was something that happened today, but I will wait. I know when to add that part. So that's coming up in this podcast too.
Would that be the OBJ?
Not that.
Oh, okay. Well, that's where we're going next, because I would almost say that Odell released. I mean, he's got to clear waivers.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with that, because obviously they had to have come to some sort of agreement on his contract or something. So we'll see what happens. If he gets claimed, there's a chance he gets through waivers, then he's a free agent. If that happens, could go anywhere. The Packers could use some help. Odell could maybe be a helpful piece this year and for a young Jordan Love next year. Maybe.
Right.
But, you know, there's very real chance he becomes a free agent. If that occurs, who do you got in mind? Who do you think would benefit greatly from having him?
Gotcha.
And do you think he's even worth, you know, because listening to some podcast stuff the last couple of days, some people seem to think he's still got some juice. So it's just going to be, and I don't know what the hell happened in Cleveland. Like clearly, it seems to me them dudes didn't like each other for one reason or another.
Right.
You got reports that some people weren't that happy with OBJ. Some people really liked him. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't really care. All I know is that's done. So we'll see what happens with the Browns. We'll get to them in a little bit. But OBJ,
he's a wild card because usually there's some players that get released and you go, oh, they want to go where they can win. But Odell Beckham, like, does he want to go and win a ring? Cool. He'll join the Rams, join the Buccaneers. Like, you know,
Right.
but then you go, because he's had like his entire tenure in Cleveland, it's been a massive disappointment. It's like, oh, maybe he wants to go somewhere. Like, does he even want to go to a playoff team? Maybe he just wants to go somewhere where it's like, oh, I can be the number one guy.
Right. That might be it.
But I'll say before I actually have a team from each conference, but I didn't know if you were also going to give a pick on that. Because if you are, I'll just choose my top team. Are you planning on taking a guess on that, or can I do an AFC, NFC?
Go ahead.
AFC, and it's tied with some recent news too, but the Raiders make a lot of sense. They've been passing a lot more this year. Currently, due to the unfortunate news that, of course, we will be covering later on this podcast. Right now, the Raiders are sitting with three wide receivers on the roster.
Yeah, they could use them.
Brian Edwards, Zay Jones, Hunter Renfrow. Like, sweet. You can run 11 personnel some of the time.
Right.
It just seems to be the fits there. The Raiders have been winning games despite the dysfunction. Like, they're right there in the thick of the playoff hunt. The NFC, what gets interesting with this one, a reunion, or not a reunion, but a return to Louisiana to join the New Orleans Saints. Because there's definitely that seems to be the thing, I think, where we talked about all these different things. Oh, he's going to want a clear top role so that he can, because wherever he goes, it's going to be a 1-year contract. It's going to be the rest of the season. So go somewhere to be the number one guy, put up a lot of stats to show the league that at 29 years old, today's his birthday, happy birthday, Odell, that he could still get one last big payday in the NFL. But also the Saints have been winning too, coming off a very impressive win against Tampa Bay. And also, like, what is it? They'll be able to put the stats because, like, Marquez Callaway, that's it. Like, they have Deontay Harris has been getting so much run at receiver. That it just seems to make a lot of sense because whatever team signs him, it's not going to be expensive. Like, it doesn't need to be. He could, in theory, sign like a minimum contract. I don't think it'll be quite that low for him, but the team's not going to have to break the bank because Cleveland's going to be paying Odell, like, they're going to be paying him a good amount of money. We don't know the specifics. It's weird, but every team, the other 31 teams, there is potentially joins them all. Those are my two guesses. Raiders in the AFC, Saints in the NFC. Would love to see him with the Saints. I think that was your original question. Where do you think I see him playing, and where do I want him to play? That's where I want to go. Go to New Orleans with Trevor Siemian.
I definitely agree that makes the most sense. As far as me, I'll do AFC and NFC real quick too. I'll do the same thing. So AFC, I'll start with the NFC. I could go, because the Saints are the team that's tied to Odell the most too. But there is a little bit of San Fran in there. Heard a little bit about Seattle, maybe being interested.
No.
But I say Atlanta.
Ooh.
Because
I like that.
Calvin Ridley's out. We don't know when he's coming back. Other than that, they're pretty thin to receiver position. They do have Kyle Pitts. But this way, you take some of the pressure off your rookie tight end by adding Odell Beckham. And then you got a hell of a trio to throw the fucking ball to next year, beyond whenever Ridley comes back. Ridley, Beckham, and fucking Pitts could be scary. So That would be just one that popped in my head. That's what the NFC one I'm going to go with. And the AFC, I'm going to say the Patriots because I mean, God damn it, all your picks, your signings, they're terrible. They're always terrible at this position. You suck at this position, except for the one time you gave Tom Brady Randy Moss. I mean, don't get me wrong. That was great. But that was the one fucking time you really got. I mean, Edelman, Welker, they were good. But like a dominant stud receiver, Tom Brady had one through his whole time in New England, Randy Moss. Get this motherfucker, Odell Beckham. And then you got some complementary pieces. You got the tight ends, you got a strong running game. Make him your young quarterback's guy. That's an idea. So those are my couple, just to kind of go outside of the box and outside of, teams that I've heard already about. Those are the two teams I decided to go with. So that was fun.
Look at some Vegas odds here. The Patriots are one of the teams. They currently have the 5th best odds. Number 1, number 2 are actually the two teams I talked about. So right now the Raiders, this is from this morning too, who knows? And these things, they ultimately, they don't mean too much. It is worth keeping track of because usually, especially one of those top teams, it's interesting. Now, the number 3 team is the Patriots rival the Bills, which I go, that's interesting because they seem set at receiver. I mean, even their number 4 receiver, Gabriel Davis, a promising young second-year player. Very interesting. Wherever he goes, that will be fun. And I don't think we'll know. They'll clear waivers on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
He hits waivers Monday.
Yeah. Maybe Tuesday.
He'll go through them and then we'll find out. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe Tuesday. So
yeah. I'm surprised I don't see Atlanta on this one, but I thought your points were extremely valid there.
Yeah.
It just seems to make a lot of sense. And man, that is pretty nice to think of, Kyle Pitts, Odell Beckham.
Right.
It would be interesting on that one, but
definitely.
I don't know. Is that all we got on this one with
Mr. Odell? Let's
I know we
wrap up the Odell
stories.
talk.
Awesome.
Okay, so next topic or next newsworthy item: Tyrod Taylor starting for the Texans Sunday. Versus Miami. I'm just kind of interested to see because at the beginning of the year, Texans were a little feisty. And you know what? Davis Mills has had some moments recently, but I'm definitely, they've still got a few interesting players pertaining to fantasy. So it'll be interesting to see what Tyrod can do for the offense.
Certainly. And I know... Well, really, Texans fans are just depressed right now, but people keep going, why are you pulling out the rookie quarterback for the 32-year-old journeyman quarterback that will probably be playing somewhere else next year? And that's just what Tyrod does. And I get it.
It is weird.
I see it, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it is kind of weird, though, because you would think, given the position they're in, they might,
right.
If the idea is, he's better for our team, we'll win more games. Do you really want to? But, teams, coaches, they're competitive. They want to win. I'm sure.
Certainly.
I'm sure. What is the Texans coach name? David. Cut.
Oh, I'm drawing the blank. Coley. Culley, Culley, I believe.
There you go.
Let's see. I have to look it up. I think we all do. I think even people in the Texans organization. David Culley.
David Culley.
Even the GM's like.
I wanted to say cut.
Even the GM's like, who did I hire? Hey, you were close.
But he's not trying to have a shit record his first season as a. So but it is a little curious. But like I said, we'll have to see what this means for fantasy. And I'm always intrigued by that when there's a new quarterback. Oh, we got to reevaluate skill position players. Let's check it out. So,
Right.
and it's
Exactly.
Houston versus Miami. Sorry. I'll let you
I
go.
love it. It's the Tua Watson.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
But what I will say, the timing on this one with going to Tyrod, it's unfortunate because Davis Mills arguably came off his, maybe not his best game. He did have a game, the New England game. He was really good.
Right.
But yeah, it's like 310 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and we're benching him. But also, it's like, well, look, in the 4 previous games, like you had the awesome 3 touchdown game, but the other 3 games he had 0 touchdowns to 6 interceptions.
Right.
With Mills, I think it was good. You got to see what you had in this guy. But the other side of that, that is the Texans fans thinking, we're not going anywhere. Let's keep with the rookie quarterback to see if we got anything. And I would argue, you've seen, what you have in them. You have 6 full games with that. And then with Tyrod, the positive thing is you have some interesting weapons on offense, in particular rookie receiver Nico Collins and the rookie tight end Brevin Jordan that was starting to get some playing time finally, because the starter Pharaoh Brown, the starter Pharaoh Brown goes down, and Brevin Jordan, that's a pass catching tight end. And when you put in a veteran quarterback that may be a little bit more accurate, especially at this point of their careers, that allows you to properly evaluate the receiving weapons to go, what exactly is Nico Collins? Could this be a big a building block for the future? Or Brevin Jordan, who just finally got his opportunity. Now you get to really see what you got with him. So I think it's the right move. And I feel good for Tyrod, because that poor dude, I mean, the needles last year, where that's how you lose your starting job. Yeah. So
a lot of shit.
And here's a fun stat for you too. If you're not absolutely desperate, but if you're streaming quarterbacks, and if he's still there, have some confidence with Tyrod Taylor. You don't have to feel bad about, it's Texas quarterback, because the Miami Dolphins are the only defense in the NFL to average allowing over 300 passing yards a game. That was a passing defense we thought was going to be good, because you had Xavier Howard and Byron Jones as the 2 outside corners, and you're like, you're not going to beat us on the outside. But clearly, over 300 passing yards a game allowed through the air, not the case.
It's insane how badly they fall, how far they've fallen. I mean, from damn near a playoff team last year to this, it's something.
This is going to cost people jobs. It will. It was that miscalculation of the Dolphins, and this could be a whole other podcast. So I'll only finish this one thought. That miscalculation there has set that franchise back maybe half a decade.
Right. Okay. Depressing. Speaking of depressing, we move on to a depressing story. And it's obviously the Henry Ruggs situation. And I just want to say, because I have some personal ties to this in a couple of different directions, to be honest, because my mother, when she was a teenager, lost both of her parents to a drunk driver. And obviously that did some damage. And to this day, I see and hear things with my mom, just that you can tell there's still a lot of that she carries with her. So I've seen, maybe not firsthand, because obviously I wasn't alive when it happened, but I've seen the repercussions of what that can do to a family. On the same token, I've been out there driving drunk. I'm a recovering alcoholic. One of the things that and when I used to go to AA, I would talk about it. I can't be any more grateful. I mean, of course, I'm grateful to be alive, that I survived, that drinking career. But it's it I was out there doing it, but I'm so grateful that I never did, that nothing like this ever did happen, because I know what it put my mom through. So I was extremely grateful that I did not do that to another family. You know what I mean? So it's now, I was also never driving 156 miles an hour, but my drunk's a little bit different than everybody else's, I suppose. And, some people are gonna, get kicks out of going fast in a car while drunk. I was always, when I was driving drunk, I was always trying to go slow and careful so I didn't get pulled over, because jail sucks. So I don't know. It's a shitty situation. As you said, football wise, that leaves the Raiders pretty strapped at the position. And it just sucks because a young person and her dog lost their life. And another young person is going to lose a chunk of his behind bars. And not really life, but freedom and all of that, which you would know is life. And it's a shame, but particularly this day and age. Come on, people. We got Uber, Lyft. I mean, I'm not going to criticize too much just because I don't drink anymore, but, there are resources out there. Come on, take advantage of them, and that's really all I got to say.
Yeah. And the only thing I'll add on that one is, because, you'll get shamed if you go, I want to keep thoughts and prayers for, like, obviously the victim, right? And the victim's family, like, yes, because that person, I would assume, it was a normal night, minding their own business, right? But for Ruggs, it's like, we also have to think about, like, it was a horrific accident that, as you point out, could have absolutely been avoided by just having a little bit of humility and going, I'm not going to show off this fancy Corvette to the young lady that he was with, that he was trying to impress, that he also injured too. But, like, he's going to have to live with that the rest of his life. And that's going to be a very difficult thing. It's like, yeah, there's going to be the consequences for your actions, but then it's going to be those moments where it's night and it's quiet. And, like, you're just there, like, reliving that over and over and over. So for Ruggs, like, his career is surely over. And that is, like, that's so crazy. Like, in one moment you're on top of the world as an athlete,
right?
And the next moment it's just gone like that. But that should be the reminder. Like, that should be, like, he could turn this into a positive thing much further down the road. You think you start using that, like, maybe
to
start
mentor the
talking
youth.
To be like, look, I had it all. I was drafted before CD. So I should not go.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have taken it there. But humor is my way of dealing with really crappy situations. But
mine too.
You just hope that for him, and you hope for Ruggs that, like, is he a horrible person? No. He more than likely just made a really horrific decision that he'll have to live with the consequences for the rest of his life, like, even past jail. So just hope that with Ruggs, he can maybe make the best out of a situation like that and try to, you can't bring a person back to life.
Right.
Like, you can't do that, but you can live the rest of your life going, look, like, I'm going to be telling my story and going, don't drive drunk, don't do this, right. Try to make an impact on these other collegiate athletes that maybe if he never comes in contact with, they end up with a similar story. But, like, the details on that, I can't, like, 156 miles per hour. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I heard that and I was just like, oh, and because it sounds like the sentence is like a 2 to 20 year type of thing. And it's like, man, with that kind of
and
information,
more.
and he had a gun in the car,
A
and
gun. Yeah.
like he's likely to get, I'd say, probably on the heavier side, but what the hell do I know?
Right.
But yeah, it's just overall shitty situation.
Yeah.
I'd like to punch him and hug him, punch him because it's like, that's the dad, the brother in me, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, kind of. And then I'd like to hug him because I know that's, again, one of the things that I am most grateful for in sobriety is that I never did that, because I don't think I could handle living with
Yeah.
it. I don't think I could. At least I didn't at the time. Maybe I'm a little more mentally sound now, but I know early on in sobriety, no fucking way. So like, that's, if you ask me, unless he's a complete shit human being, that's going to be quite the punishment in itself. And I know that,
Right.
like you said, doesn't bring anybody back or anything like that. It just sucks, man. It sucks. So we'll wrap it up and move on to the next. Sorry, you look like you had something.
And actually, yeah, and actually, real quick too, because it seems like they're, I don't know, like maybe the only connection on this is that it's Raiders as well. But ironically, their other first round pick from 2020, Damon Arnett, the cornerback, has like this video where he's like waving a heavy duty gun. I mean, I don't know my guns, but I'm like, how the hell, like, why would you purchase something like that? It's like stuff that you would, I don't know, you're playing GTA or something. Like,
Right.
what the heck? And he's on video. I don't know who he's talking to, but it's like telling us, like, whoever he's talking to, like, yeah, show up here and I'm gonna kill you. Like, he legit makes a threat. And so it's like, dude, like, you just had your teammate just kill a person on accident, like, a horrific decision making, like we talked about, and that's what you're gonna do. Like, I mean, I sit there, and if I'm the Raiders GM, I'm cutting him too, like, just on pure stupidity. It's like and also, like, it's clear it started with John Gruden, and then the Henry Ruggs decisions. Like, this team's winning, but they got to get that culture in check. Like, it is not that every locker room's perfect, but the good locker rooms know how to keep anything that's going on like this within closed doors. And you know what? With the Raiders team like this, you go, we don't need that. We don't need that distraction. I mean, shoot, Arnett's, it probably makes it a little easier because I don't even think he is starting. I'll pull up the Raiders depth chart real quick. I was pretty certain, because I remember when they drafted him, like the draft people were like, "What, that's a reach? Like, that's the guy you took 19th overall. It's like a third round." And I don't think he's a starter. Oh, come on, it's pulling up the depth chart ever so slowly. There we go. So yeah, where is he even at? Is he injured?
Who?
There he is. So Damon Arnett was even active. He was on IR. So, but yeah, when he comes back, like, Casey Hayward is locked down one of the spots. They have a rookie and Nate Hobbs that's locked up the nickelback spot. Like, he would have been a backup, I'm pretty certain. So, but you just go, you know what? No, we're not dealing with this crap. And you have to applaud the Raiders front office of, they were swift. They were swift with what they did with Ruggs, and that was absolutely the right decision. And they may be swift with Arnett too. And I think it does. It's more of, like, if something like that happens, if you didn't have the Ruggs situation, maybe you handle it differently. But I feel like you just go, you know what? Nope, not doing this. We have enough negative PR from Gruden to Ruggs to now this Arnett video. It ain't pretty. So the most dysfunctional team in the NFL that's sitting at what, they're 5-2, I think. Like, they're up there. So,
and they're playing the Giants this week, so that's a winnable game. But it's like, how much can this team take? How
Right.
So they're an intriguing team to watch, and now I'm really going to see what happens with Brian Edwards. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and get into our Week 9 look ahead.
Love it.
All right, we are back. The children have been dealt with. And we go to our Week 9 preview. And I begin with start the timer, tighten up. So, no Derrick Henry. What do you expect? Obviously, I think we can both agree that Jeremy McNichols becomes very interesting. But Julio still questionable. What do you expect from this offense? I overall, in general, am worried, but that doesn't mean I don't think McNichols is going to be solid, because I think he can be. We'll see what AP's role is when he gets in there. But sorry. I've asked you twice what your thoughts are, and then I keep talking, so please.
That's okay. So I see the backfield changing of more of a traditional two-back system. Peterson maybe early downs, McNichols third downs, and you'll see McNichols have some early down carries as well. Because I feel like McNichols is just the better option. He's not just a pass catching guy. His running ability has been solid in the efficiency metrics. So it may be one of those things. We've discussed this way back in the offseason. At the end of the day, running backs don't really move the needle much. And the perfect example is the Ravens. And I know people will go, oh, but the Titans are different. No, they're not. They're not. The Ravens were a run-heavy team. So your question was, what changes do I see with this team? It now becomes Ryan Tannehill has to step up. And it is perfect that A.J. Brown in the last 3 games or so has looked like A.J. Brown.
Right.
That's going to be fantastic. If they could get Julio Jones healthy, and maybe Odell Beckham joins them, that could be a dark horse, but going to be a lot more passing. I would invest heavily in the pass catchers in Tennessee, and that would also include Jeremy McNichols.
Okay. So you don't think it's going to hurt him enough? Like, because I got to feel like if teams know it's not Derrick Henry, like obviously the run game can still be productive. Right. Derrick Henry is just one of those, we talked about it. For non-quarterbacks, like, man, that's one of those guys you just don't want to lose. So I just want to see how they go, because I do wonder if putting it more on the passing, more on Tannehill's shoulders, if that'll be good long term. But I think you're right. Fantasy wise, I think it's going to help A.J. Brown regardless. Now we'll see. It helps the team overall if Julio can get in there and get his going, because that should be very plausible now. We'll see what happens. I want to see how it goes. There's a very good chance they're definitely going to have to throw if they get down against those Rams.
Oh, that is her opponent this weekend. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It will be very interesting. All right. What's our next team?
All right. Next. Ooh, there we go. Let's start again. Timer went off. New look Saints. We got the new look Saints. Now, there's a very good chance it's Trevor Siemian. Do we think we'll see Taysom Hill at some point? Does it matter? Is it going to be just kind of the same shit to Winston? Does any of this change if they get Odell? what do you think about the Saints right now? Because they're 5-2, man. And, Alvin Kamara, up to this point, has been really the dude you could count on.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, no, Michael Thomas isn't coming back. So, I mean, if they get an Odell, is he going to be fantasy relevant even? Like, it's hard to kind of figure out.
Right. And to go through this, well, the very first thing is Sean Payton himself has confirmed Trevor Siemian starting quarterback, which then goes, so Taysom Hill has to be the most expensive gadget player of all time. And
right.
That is a pretty telling sign. And trust me, I've been Team Taysom the entire time. I think part of that is loved rooting for the guy because everyone else hates his guts. I mean, he scores fantasy points. I like that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, let's see. Taysom Hill, I know, he came back from an injury. Maybe he's still affected by it. Did he?
He had a concussion.
I don't show him. Yeah. Did he play? I don't think he played in the last game. I'm sorry, I didn't even catch that game. But okay.
No,
so
he's been out for a couple weeks. So
yeah, I thought he came back for this game. I was mistaken, but that's clearly the reason right there why Trevor Siemian started. Is like Taysom Hill hasn't had any playing time, but it is a little awkward that you got a guy making as much money as Taysom Hill, be a backup. Does it change much? I don't really think so, because Trevor Siemian actually has the most passing attempts of a Saints quarterback in a single game with 29. Like the Saints for the season, for half a season, have clearly not been about passing the ball.
Right.
And maybe for some obvious reasons. There's a lack of, receiving talent on there. But you look at, they brought in Mark Ingram recently, and they went ahead and gave him some work. And you have Alvin Kamara. It's very clear that this team, they are going back to what, like 2017, 2018.
Ground and pound.
Ground and pound.
What do they call themselves? Thunder and lightning or something like that?
Right.
Ingram and Kamara.
Clearly they're going to keep it on the ground. I know they have a talented defense. It's just going to be, and I say that, and the Saints scored 36 points, but like, remember, there was like 2 defensive touchdowns, maybe. I've actually got the box score pulled up. Maybe not. There was one, but there was a lot of field goals.
Yeah.
So when you sit there and you take out the field goals and the touchdowns, it was like there was 3 touchdowns. Like the offense scored 20 points. I heard the timer. That's it.
It's the Predator sound. I love it. All right, we move to the Battle of Ohio, my friend. Cleveland, Cincinnati. I think this will be a fun game. I think you can obviously play your Bengals players. I do think you can count on them. But for the Cleveland side, I'm really interested to see, with Odell back out of the picture and out of the picture for good now, I want to see how it goes. I want to see, because clearly there's something there that was causing tension. With him completely away, I would like to see if that does anything positive for the offense at all. And that's mainly what I'm going to be looking for with the Browns. But I think that just football-wise, this could be one of the better games this could be a fun one, I think. So I'm going to be excited to check up on this one. But what are your thoughts on, the Bengals in this matchup, bouncing back, and Cleveland without Odell going forward? Give it to me.
I think the number one interesting thing is just thinking about the fact that start of the season, if you would have told me 2 teams are meeting at the midpoint of the season and the Bengals have the better record than the Browns, I would have laughed. So this will be a pivotal game for both teams because they're only separated by a game. Right. Can Cleveland get back on track? Because you drop a game, you go to 4-5. you're still in the playoff hunt, but geez, like you're gonna
Right.
have to play some really impressive second half football. And for the
Yes.
Bengals, like, can you bounce back? Can you bounce back from who was it? Was the Jets? You lost to the Jets. Like you really don't want that to be the turning point of your season where you lost to the Jets and then you lose to the Browns and
Right.
you lose to whoever you play next. So it's for both teams. It's a get right game. It's, can we get our seasons back on track? Not really that the Bengals season has been off track, but it will
Yeah.
be interesting. I want to see more Burrow to Chase touchdowns. Chase with 7 touchdowns, 8 games. Can we get another touchdown? I can't wait.
I cannot either. And speaking of these bounce back game, getting on back on track, as you say, the Chargers. You think they can get back on track? Because they have not been good the past couple of weeks. I mean, if I remember right, I think Eckler's actually been solid, but they have not been, regardless, the same
Herbert's been bad.
offense. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have not even been close. So on the road, Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, and them boys coming off of a solid game themselves. So what do you think about, well, really both offenses in this matchup? And do the Bolts get a bounce back?
Man, it is a team that's not playing up to its potential the last couple of weeks. They have just got Justin Herbert's not been good at all, and it's because of what you talked about. Offense is not on. The offense is just off, and really the big part of that was they changed the way they were using Mike Williams. They are starting to use Mike Williams in the old Mike Williams role. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, and just gonna have him run deep. And it's no, the Mike Williams that was dominating fantasy football was being used like Michael Thomas. And
Right.
I don't know why they change things, but until that changes,
Yeah,
like they
stupid.
have to, they really do, because they had something that was just working. I don't know why they changed it. I don't know at all. So you're going against the Eagles, who are winless at home, believe it or not. I am going to say the Chargers do get back on track there, but it'll be difficult because the Eagles defense does not give up a lot of passing yards or fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So look for Justin Herbert, Jared Cook connection. That's going to be a good one. Like, the Eagles are super bad against tight ends. And on the Eagles side, we have nothing to go off of on that last game. We really don't. Like, that was
very true. That's very true.
Yeah. But Dallas Goddard is that guy. And I would say for like DFS, Devontae Smith's going to be fine. He ran 9 routes in that last game, but it's because Jalen Hurts only dropped back for 14 passes. It was, it's a super weird game.
Right.
Devontae Smith's been running a lot of routes. I'm comfortable because they should be playing from behind too as a home team. Like Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard, I'm not afraid of playing those guys.
Neither I. And I don't have anything to add. So move on to the next one. Dak's return. And really, this is pretty simple and easy to me. Obviously, this is great. I mean, hey, we got by with Cooper Rush in there last week, right? But
right.
Dak returning, even better. And who the hell do they play? The Vikings, right?
Nope.
No, the Broncos.
So the Vikings
they played the Vikings last week. Yeah, what am I thinking? Cooper Rush beat the Vikings. And unfortunately, they lost Daniil Hunter, which sucks because he's one of my favorite defensive players. And so it sucks that he's gone down. But the team the Cowboys play this week, the Denver Broncos. So Denver, obviously, dealing Von Miller to the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And, got to weaken the defense a little bit. Not that he is what he used to be, but still. and it's in Dallas, and then it just seems like a hey, let's get Dak right game, and that's really all I have to say about it. I'm sure it'll be fine. The Broncos will continue their slide, their dissension. Although they did win last week, but anyway, yeah, that's pretty simple to me. It's going to be good to have Dak back, though.
Absolutely, because on one hand, and just briefly with the Vikings game, I will say that Cowboys win just shows that the roster is good. When you can bring in a backup quarterback, it's Cooper Rush, and Cooper Rush is okay. He's okay at best, and you can win a game on the road like that. That tells you more about like how the rest of your roster is.
Yep.
So then this home game against the Broncos, in which, as you talked about, it's not just Von Miller getting traded. Bryce Callahan, their guy, he's one of their cornerbacks. Specifically, he's their nickelback. He's injured. And so the defense has just been taking hits because they were already losing linebackers every direction. Like you turn your head that way, linebacker is getting hurt. You look that way, that linebacker, oh my goodness, I think they amputated his leg. The defense is not what it was in the first few weeks. And they're not a bad defense. It's just, unfortunately, injuries hit. And that's going to affect any team. It can make a good team just straight up horrible. And the Cowboys are favored by 10 points, by the way. Absolutely absurd on this one. It will be a happy Dak reunion because
I agree.
He'll be able to move the ball.
Although I got a quick prediction. We see some Drew Lock in this game.
Okay.
It'll happen at some point. At some point, they're going to want to see a little bit of him. They're not going to the playoffs. No.
I have to say, I heard your alarm go off. Oh,
you're right. You're right.
As you finished that last. Well, no, it was perfect. You had just finished.
And then I kept going.
That's okay. I was impressed that you finished that thought right on the dot. The next second, the alarm goes off. Yeah. Like, man, perfect timing.
Thank you. I appreciate the recognition. All right. Last topic. Banged up Birds versus the 49ers. Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins look to be a game time decision. And they're playing this 49ers team who you can't get a real grip on. They're another weird team. And Jimmy Garoppolo has not been great. And you know what? Still, like last week was such a weird game because the San Francisco offense did pick it up in the second half. But I remember what really sparked them was a big, gigantic 3rd and 20 run into the – and I'm telling you, like, that play, like, that was totally given to them. So it's kind of like it's I don't know. I'm not necessarily sold on this 49ers team. This 49ers offense. Does look like they might get George Kittle back. If anything, worst case scenario next week, but it does sound like they'll get it back. So, we'll see how it goes. Maybe I just keep thinking about this because I would find them more exciting with Trey Lance in there. And maybe that's just where my brain goes. But I never hit start on the timer. God damn it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take it down to 2 minutes for that. There we go. So I'm just hoping the Cardinals that Kyler's good to go. And, we can get our normal Cardinals offense, although AJ Green is out. So hello, Rondale Moore, especially if this could be Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore. They could have big games. Now, where was I? Yeah, you know what? I'm done. I talked about the Cardinals. I'm hoping Kyler Murray plays because if he doesn't, I'm a little worried about the output for the rest of the offense. But otherwise, yeah, got my feelings out about the Niners. I'll throw it to you.
Well, and that's where I come in with the bad news. The stuff I was seeing recently was saying that Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins for Arizona are both going to be out. So, because Murray did sprain his ankle. And typically, even a mild one, you're more than likely going to miss a game. And on the San Francisco side, I will say that if you have Deebo Samuel, you may not be able to play him. I'll be a Dino to playing him this week because I think he's dealing with an injury. I don't remember the specific injury, but and credit to, there was someone on Twitter like early this week that was going, you know what? Murray, Hopkins, and Deebo are not going to play in this game. Mm-hmm. So it is going to be an ugly game. And it's a home game for San Francisco. And my bold take is, I think San Francisco is going to win.
You know what? No Kyler Murray, it would not surprise me at all. So, would not surprise me at all. And look at that. With 3 seconds to spare, my friend. Hello, Predator. That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Well, buddy, it was a good pod. Did you have any additional thoughts, any other games or players, anything you wanted to mention?
I'll say no additional teams or players, but if you enjoyed this podcast, you need to make sure to subscribe to us, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, follow us on Twitter. Our podcast Twitter is at DW_pod. You can find me, Aaron, the salary captain Stewart, on Twitter. It's at AaronStew09. And Ryan, where can they find you at on Twitter?
At RMK Madness. That is right. That is right. And we head off into the night. And we prepare ourselves for Sunday. It's pretty much halfway through, man.
Welcome to the show.
Half the season. God damn. All right, everyone. We're getting the hell out of here. Stay safe, stay vigilant, stay mad. Until next time, from the captain, the chat.